The television courtroom had never witnessed rage like this before. Police's Chief Benjamin Brennan stood in front of Judge Judy, his face burning red as he pointed across the courtroom and screamed words that would destroy his life forever. "I own you!" The room fell silent. Audience members gasped. Bailiff Byrd stepped forward instantly. But Judge Judy remained perfectly still, staring at Brennan with the cold expression that had terrified countless people over the years. This wasn't just another angry defendant. This was a police chief, a 25-year veteran of law enforcement. And the woman he screamed at, Detective Sarah Singania, visibly trembled as years of abuse and humiliation came rushing back all at once. What happened next would expose decades of corruption, intimidation, and misconduct hiding behind a badge. And Judge Judy was about to prove that power means nothing inside her courtroom. Chief Benjamin Brennan entered court that morning with the confidence of a man who had never faced consequences. At 52 years old, he carried himself like a military commander. His uniform was spotless, his medals polished, and his reputation inside Oakwood Police Department made him feared by nearly everyone around him. For 5 years, he had run the department like his personal kingdom. Anyone who challenged him was punished. Politicians protected him. Internal affairs buried complaints against him. Officers feared speaking out. Brennan believed he was untouchable. And when he looked at Judge Judy, he saw another person he thought he could intimidate. Across from him sat Detective Sarah Singania. At only 34 years old, Sarah had become the youngest detective in Oakwood PD history. Her case closure rate was the highest in the department, and she had solved dozens of major investigations. But to Brennan, none of that mattered. To him, she was simply a woman who didn't belong in his department. Sarah sat quietly, holding a thick folder against her chest, her hands visibly shaking. She was a single mother raising 2 daughters alone, and the legal battle had nearly destroyed her financially. The harassment started 3 years earlier when she earned her detective shield. Chief Brennan immediately told her women made terrible detectives and suggested she transfer back to patrol or dispatch. When Sarah proved herself by solving major cases, Brennan became openly hostile. He called her sweetheart and honey during meetings. He reassigned her investigations to less qualified male detectives. He gave her dangerous assignments without backup. And when Sarah finally filed an official harassment complaint 6 months earlier, Brennan retaliated immediately. He suspended her, reduced her pay by 40%, and labeled her emotionally unstable. Internal Affairs cleared him without interviewing any of her witnesses. Now Sarah was fighting for survival. She was suing for $87, leaving in lost wages and damages, money she desperately needed to support her children. But Brennan sat across from her, completely relaxed, beside his expensive attorney. He had never lost to a woman before. And he didn't think today would be any different. What Brennan didn't know was that Judge Judy had spent the entire previous night reviewing every complaint and sealed record tied to his career. And what she uncovered would destroy him. As the hearing began, Judge Judy immediately noticed Brennan's attitude. Instead of showing respect, he leaned casually against the table and repeatedly called her Mom instead of Your Honor. Chief Brennan, Judge Judy began. Detective Singania claims you created a hostile work environment and retaliated against her after she filed complaints. How do you respond? Brennan smiled confidently. Your Honor, I run a police department with over 200 officers. Some people simply aren't built for real police work. Detective Singania isn't suited for detective work. Judge Judy turned toward Sarah. Tell me what happened. Sarah opened her folder and handed over several emails. This was sent 2 weeks after my promotion, she explained. Judge Judy read aloud. Detective Singania, I'm reassigning the Henderson homicide case. It requires physical stamina, that may be difficult for someone of your background. Judge Judy looked directly at Brennan. Someone of your background? I meant experience level, Brennan replied quickly. No, Judge Judy answered coldly. You meant she was a woman. Sarah handed over more documents. Here are 17 emails where he calls me sweetheart, honey, or little girl during official department communication. She continued, pulling out evidence. Here's a performance review saying I'm too emotional for investigative work. And here are witness statements from officers who heard him say women don't belong in policing. Then she handed over one final email. Judge Judy's expression darkened as she read it. Chief Brennan, did you write this? Brennan hesitated. Yes, read it aloud. His voice weakened. Singhania filed her complaint today. Recommend immediate leave pending investigation into her mental stability and fitness for duty. The courtroom became silent. Judge Judy stared at him. So within 24 hours of her complaint, you were discussing terminating her employment? That's standard protocol. Brennan argued defensively. Judge Judy leaned forward. Don't insult my intelligence, Chief. Sarah quietly explained what happened next. He suspended me the next day. Other officers were warned not to speak to me. Internal Affairs ignored my witnesses completely. Her voice cracked. My daughters don't understand why we might lose our home. Judge Judy's anger continued building. How many women work in your department? She asked Brennan. 12. Out of how many officers? 207. And how many female supervisors? None. Judge Judy stared at him in disbelief. So none of the women supervise actual police operations. That's correct. And you see no problem with that, Brennan confidently answered. Policing requires aggression, physical strength, and instincts men naturally possess more than women. The audience gasped. Judge Judy's voice dropped dangerously low. Natural ability, Brennan continued speaking, without realizing how badly he was damaging himself. Women are better suited for communication and administrative roles. Real street policing requires a different biological skill set. Judge Judy immediately turned towards Sarah. What's your case closure rate? 94%, Your Honor. Department average is 68%. Judge Judy looked back at Brennan slowly. So according to you, the detective with the highest performance metrics lacks the natural abilities for police work. Brennan's frustration exploded. Statistics don't tell the whole story. No, Judge Judy replied sharply. But discrimination does. Then she pressed even harder. Did you call her a diversity hire? I may have criticized promotion policies. Did you say women don't belong in investigative work? I said traditional policing is male-dominated for good reason. Judge Judy's patience finally disappeared. People like her? She repeated sharply. What exactly does that mean? Brennan lost control. It means officers who look for excuses to be offended instead of doing their jobs. Real cops don't file harassment complaints. The courtroom erupted in murmurs. Judge Judy demanded silence. Then she asked one final question. How many complaints have been filed against you during your career? Brennan hesitated. That hesitation told Judge Judy everything. Then the explosion happened. Judge Judy pressed harder. You suspended her, reduced her pay, blocked her career, and publicly stated women don't belong in policing. That's textbook retaliation. Brennan suddenly stood up. You don't understand police work, he shouted angrily. I've spent 25 years risking my life while judges sit in courtrooms second-guessing us. Judge Judy warned him calmly. Sit down. Chief Brennan. But he was completely out of control now. He turned towards Sarah and screamed, I own you. I run that department. You're nothing without that badge. The audience gasped in horror. Sarah recoiled in fear as tears filled her eyes. Bailiff Byrd immediately stepped between them. Judge Judy sat silently for several terrifying seconds before speaking. Sit down right now, Chief Brennan, or my bailiff will sit you down for you. Brennan slowly realized what he had just done on national television. His attorney desperately tried to explain it away. Your Honor, my client misspoke under stress. Judge Judy immediately cut him off. Your client just screamed that he owns a decorated detective in my courtroom. There is no taking that back. Then Judge Judy shocked everyone. She pulled out a thick folder from beneath the bench. Chief Brennan, she said coldly, my research team uncovered some very interesting information about your past. Brennan's face instantly turned pale. Judge Judy revealed that years earlier, Brennan had secretly left another police department after a female officer accused him of sexual harassment. The department quietly paid the woman $125,000 to settle the case. Then Judge Judy revealed something even worse. 15 years earlier, Brennan had been arrested for domestic assault. According to the police report, he grabbed his girlfriend by the throat and screamed the exact same words. I own you. The courtroom exploded. Judge Judy stared directly at him. This isn't a pattern. Chief Brennan, this is who you are. Then she exposed thousands of dollars in fraudulent department expenses tied to Brennan, luxury dinners, fake conferences, personal vacations charged to police accounts. Finally, Judge Judy delivered her ruling. I find completely in favor of Detective Sarah Singania. Chief Brennan, you will personally pay $87,000 in lost wages and an additional $150 Zusan in punitive damages. She leaned forward one final time. You are a bully, a predator, and a disgrace to every honest police officer in this country. Brennan sat speechless. You spent your career intimidating people into silence, Judge Judy continued coldly, but today you exposed yourself in front of the entire country. Then she slammed the gavel. Court dismissed. Within hours, the video of Brennan screaming, I own you, went viral across the internet. By sunset, his career was over. And Detective Sarah Singania, who entered that courtroom terrified and broken, walked out vindicated with her future finally secured.